The Dallas Stars dominate the Blue Jackets once again and win 5-2. But my burning question is Matt Duchene the most valuable star?
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105.3 The Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Be sure to subscribe, never miss an episode. As always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. My burning question is Matt Duchene the most valuable star on this year's roster? And I'm going to throw some things out there into the universe, and you let me know as well down in the comments section. Play along with me, because we've seen the Stars without him for one game and with the next. Completely different, stark contrast. Granted, they did play the Columbus Blue Jackets at the end of the day, and I understand that, but still, Matt Duchene with a 3-point night went beast mode against his former club as the Stars end up clobbering the Columbus Blue Jackets even after a horrendous start. And we will get into all of that. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50+ infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. So I started pondering this question about midway through the second period when the Stars finally came to play, because they were completely MIA in the first 8 minutes. What is this? What am I watching? Columbus pots 2 quickly. Fortunately, Marchment with the answer right away. And the Stars finally got to their game, and it was pretty much all she wrote after the second period, as really the Stars just were much better at the end of the day. And that's what we were expecting coming into it, but the start was really, really bad. Anyways, Matt Duchene just looks so good. And the reason I'm pondering this question now, and of course this is not, is he the best player overall, just the most valuable, because we saw him not in the lineup, of course, against Monday, against Boston. The offense was really flat. Splitting up Marchment and Seguin, or really finding anybody to play with Seguin and Marchment. What's the answer? We haven't really found one. This dates back to last year. They haven't been able to find a perfect match for those two. And Duchene now enters the fold. And boom, this line all of a sudden is flying around, picking up points left and right. By the way, Marchment with a goal and assist, Seguin with a goal and assist as well, as that line went bonkers against the Blue Jackets. And he just elevates the players around him. And maybe this just went across me or went over my head, because I would not watch Duchene on a night-to-night basis. But he's such an incredible playmaker, and he just makes people around him better. I mean, look at the way Marchment played. I mean, people were ready to throw him over the mountain. Get out of here. Can't wait to get rid of your contract. Duchene comes back, and Marchment's all over the place. He created 15 scoring chances himself. That's Mason Marchment. He had the most scoring chances, one of the most scoring chances at 5-on-5 by any Stars player. The only one that had more was Duchene. and I believe it was Seguin as well that had 17 in the contest. Yeah, it was Seguin. That whole line was just incredible. And this is at 5-on-5. It's in all situations. His Corsi for percentage, 68, highest on the team. Expected goals percentage at 79, a couple of points higher. I mean, the line was buzzing. And now you have to ask this question. He's the X factor. without him, you have to move Seguin and Marchment around. It feels like maybe you don't have to, but then you got to find someone else to put on that line. And there hasn't been an answer. We've seen it multiple times. They've tried Delandria last year. I mean, Smith, Faksa, you name it. Not a good choice, it seems like. But Duchene is just the perfect fit for that line, and he elevates the game of Marchment and Seguin. And it's a completely different ball game when that line is good. It gives you three very, very solid lines. And the Robo line wasn't even spectacular in the game. They weren't that great. You have another line that can just take over a game. Ben and Johnston's Dodonov line was fine. I mean, every line was great, but granted, the Blue Jackets were almost on a penalty kill, it felt like, the entire game. I mean, the Stars, besides the first 8 minutes, of course, but the Stars were on a power play, it felt like, for 2.5 minutes in the Columbus zone, just passing it around, almost flat-footed, just moving it here, you take it, pass it off. You know, it's like DeBoer told them, hey, you got to three passes before you shoot, because Columbus didn't know what to do, and the Stars were out-changing them, of course, out-chancing them. They finally out-shoot an opponent on the road, which is a good sign. And it was a dominating closeout, too, which is a good sign. You got to put bad teams away, and they did. Yeah, Columbus is not a good team. Both these clubs are going very different directions, and it was the most dominating performance of the season so far. And, of course, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but you know, I'm always of the impression that Miro is the most valuable player. But, I mean, we've seen the contrast. And we've seen the contrast without having Miro in the past, too. He's missed a stretch of like 8 to 10 games the past few years, too, with some injuries. And the decor's a lot different. You don't have the offensive upside. You definitely don't have the skating ability from out of your own zone and just being a one-man breakout. You don't have that. But man, it's a stark difference, and especially with Seguin and Marchment. I mean, the play just automatically increases with him, and he's looked so good. He's looked so good, better than I could have ever imagined. And he's up to 8 points now on the year. Seguin picks up a beautiful tip in front on his goal. Marchment with the answer, which was probably the most important goal, like 40 seconds after the Blue Jackets went up 2-0. And it's just a great night all around. And the Stars played really well. But is Matt Duchene the most valuable Stars player? I think he is. And look, maybe this is a bit heinous and a bit, you know, like this happened yesterday because it did. But still, it just feels like the entire play of the offense just completely changed when he was out there. And that was the only line that really showed up to play in the first 10 minutes too. No one showed up. Everybody was pretty shaky, except it felt like that line had some success in their first couple of shifts. And when the Stars were very shaky off the hop, they're the ones that got the answer. And the next thing you know, the floodgates open. Stars score 5 unanswered, including an empty net goal from Jason Robertson with his second of the year. But man, what a night. 3 points for Matt Duchene against his former club in Columbus after missing a game with an upper body injury. Radek Faksa comes back as well. He picks up a point in the contest too. And the Stars roll through the Blue Jackets. Final time they meet, so they're 2-0. And they beat both of their netminders as Marchment got the start for Columbus. And a good start to the road trip. Stars got an interesting weekend ahead, and we'll touch on that a bit with some of the afternoon starts and against Central Division opponents against a Winnipeg team that's doing all right, and so is Minnesota. Let's get into some more of this best performance of the year in just a moment because I'm flying high. Duchene's got me having Stanley Cup fever with the way he's playing. God, he's been good. Let's dig into this one more after this. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Parkview Advance. As a business owner, you realize there are times when receivables might fall behind, but that doesn't mean you need to fall behind on vendor payments, payroll, or rent. For more than 25 years, Parkview Advance has helped businesses secure working capital from $5,000 to $1.5 million. Parkview Advance can approve your working capital in as little as 24 hours. It's a much easier process than you might imagine as well. We invite the many entrepreneurs that are Locked On NHL fans to learn more by calling them at 203-675-0071 or go to parkviewadvance.com. That is 203-675-0071 or go to parkviewadvance.com. If your business needs working capital, call Parkview Advance today. Parkview Advance, helping businesses with their working capital. Go to parkviewadvance.com. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by Collective. If you run a solo small business, you're an army of one, but you still need a CPA, a bookkeeper, separate payroll solution, and more. Let Collective take care of the paperwork while you take care of the business. Collective is the #1 financial solution for freelancers, contractors, and self-employed entrepreneurs that lets you focus on your passion, not your paperwork. Let Collective handle all of that paperwork that you dread. The corporate formation and compliance, taxes, bookkeeping, accounting, payroll, you name it, the best part, right? And it's a fraction of the cost of a CPA. Join the thousands of solo entrepreneurs who have saved an average of $10,000 per year on taxes with their structure. Right now, Collective is offering 1 month free and no onboarding fee when you go to collective.com/lockedonnhl and tell them Locked On NHL sent you, and you'll get a $550 value for free when you go to collective.com/lockedonnhl and tell them Locked On NHL sent you, because that's collective.com/lockedonnhl and tell them that Locked On NHL sent you. The Stars are coming off their best performance of the year as they pick up another win and they jump back in front of the Central Division. And I'm recording this the night after, pretty much right after the game. I don't know the conclusion of the Avalanche and Seattle game. I'll probably hop over there and watch that after. So the Stars may not be in first place after that, okay? But right now they are, so I'm gonna throw it out there. But nonetheless, they pick up a few more points, and thank you guys so much for all your love and support so far on Locked On Stars. Please continue to comment, engage with me. I really, really enjoy it. And be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. But 8th win of the season for the Stars, now 8-3-1, and they picked up 17 points. A good start in the month of November as American Thanksgiving is creeping up, and we all know the importance of that. I believe it's, 85%, and maybe even more of all teams in a playoff spot at Thanksgiving are in the playoffs at the end of the year. That's usually what it is, and I think maybe over the past few years hasn't quite been the case, but that's why it's so important to get off to a great start, and the Stars are. And we still haven't seen their best performance of the year, or I guess I shouldn't say of the year because it was, but their best complete 60 minutes. They got closer. They played about 50 because the first 8 minutes was horrendous. But I do want to give a shout out because I touched on Matt Duchene, of course, but Nils Lundkvist played a phenomenal game on both ends. He was really, really good. He made a great play in the third period on an odd man rush, pretty much just neutralized an attack, forced a Blue Jacket into the corner. Harley played a good game. He was shaky at first. Mostly all the pairings were very shaky up front. I mean, Miro and Suter got off to a very bad start. Of course, Miro came around, played really well. Suter was fantastic too, made a great play on an odd man rush, went down to a knee, blocked a pass. And the Stars were really good in front of Ottinger for most of the game. Obviously, they kind of hung him out to dry in the first 10 minutes or so, but they really bared down and played a really nice, tight hockey game in front of Otter after that. Penalty kill was good, only had to kill one, of course, but they got the job done. Power play, just at this point, it's overthinking now. Just forcing plays into the middle of the rink, forcing passes through opponents, and just not happening. Not happening. But great at 5-on-5. The fourth line for Dallas was really good. Faksa and Smith, of course, they combined on an odd man rush. It was a tough shift because they were on their heels for the majority of it. That was a part in the second period when Columbus found their game a bit and they hemmed in the Stars for, about 45 seconds. Next thing you know, they get a break the other way, and Faksa creates a rebound on the shot. Smith buries it. Big tying goal for the Stars, and then they went to work off of that. I would love to see Dellandrea play on that line. Sam Steele's been fine, but Dellandrea's better. Just Dellandrea should not be healthy scratched. He's too good of a player. Too good of a player. Let him play. Put him on that fourth line. He's a little bit more grittier than Sam Steele, and he can chip in too. We've seen him be able to chip in offensively. 28 points last year, and let him play every day. Let him get some reps under his belt. I know they will, but I would just like to see him out there. But some more guys that we need to show some love to, I feel like. Marchment, of course, I've kind of spoke on that whole line in general, but he just looked really, really good. Great bounce back for him because everybody had their head, including myself. Look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't bury him a bit. I'm a little bit higher on Marchment. I have been. I've been fair with him, but I got on him too a bit for his penalty against Boston. The Stars ended up doing just fine on Thursday night. Hakanpää and Lindell were okay. Nothing to scoff at. Played pretty well on the PK. Radek Faksa, a great return. A really nice return for him off of injury. He missed 4 games and really never missed a beat coming back. He's good in the faceoff dot. Created some chances offensively. He was good in his D zone. And I think it was just a really solid play game from a lot of different individuals. Not anybody that I thought really had an off night. Maybe Robertson wasn't spectacular. Him and Pavelski were, and Hintz. I mean, really their whole line was pretty quiet for the night. But that's okay. Like, look, they don't need to carry the entire offense. They've been doing it for 3 years. They can have an off night every once in a while. And fortunately, the Stars now have some firepower behind them where they can make up for that if they're not on top of their game. And it's not like they were awful. Look, just not as potent as we've seen them so far this year. Rope was, in and around, but I would probably say it was probably his quietest night of the season. But it's good that other guys are chipping in, and it was a great performance in general. The Stars outchanced the Blue Jackets 27-25. Expected goals for was 2.91, almost a point above Columbus. I mean, and you could tell it was just a different class after the second period. The Stars were just everywhere and sustained offensive zone time all over the place. I mean, imagine how dominating the game would have been. It could have been 5-0 easily if they showed up in the first 10 minutes. Maybe this was a Super Bowl situation. Remember the Ravens 49ers? The lights go out at halftime. There's the big comeback. Fell short anyways. Crabtree, I believe. Anyways, but the light situation in Columbus, someone forgot to pay the bill, and we were sitting around. Maybe that was Columbus thinking, yeah, we don't have a chance. Let's fake the light situation here. Let's not turn on the switch. Get the boys sitting around for a little bit. It's easier for a young team sitting around to find their legs earlier. It's an old veteran Stars team. Maybe not. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I'm asking questions, folks. You have to ask questions. And that's what I've brought to you today. But nonetheless, great game. Stars win 5-2, 5 unanswered. And Matt Duchene is the spearhead of it. 3-point night for him. Nils Lundkvist, too, with 2 points. I mentioned how I liked his play. Forgot about the 2 assists, too. Stars defensemen in general, very, very well. Lindell picked up an assist. He actually sprung that 2-on-1 for Faksa and Smith. So all in all, a well-rounded game. Just gotta tidy up a bit right off the start, right off puck drop. And we'll continue to harp on that as the season goes along. But a huge weekend ahead. I have a nice surprise for you too, a bit. not really a gift, but it could be if you want to take it as that gesture. It is almost holiday season. I'll tell you about it next in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Jace Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together, you and I. We get fired up together on those wins and losses. Who starts, who sits. I'm thankful for the connection that we have. And today I want to make our chat a bit more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply of ED medications. You realize what that means. Bring on extended travel, bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You are covered, my friend. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics like Cialis or Viagra. And this is possible because of our friends at Jace Medical. You've heard me talk about them all the time. The Jace case, as I mentioned at the top, should get one of those as well. But go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply of your daily medication. Remember to use promo code Locked On at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. I am thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you agree with that, you need to go to jacemedical.com to get your year's supply of daily med and see it's offered to you. Remember to use promo code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Big weekend ahead for the Dallas Stars. 2 Central Division opponents on the docket on Saturday and Saturday. And some weird matinees, early nights, late evening type situations. A 2 o'clock start against Winnipeg and then 5 o'clock on Sunday against Minnesota. Expecting Wedgwood to start on Saturday. Otter gets to start in his hometown in St. Paul, I would assume. By the way, I'm going to just throw this out there just because it's at the top of my head, mentioning he's going back to home. He's part of one of the most notorious high school hockey teams in the state of Minnesota. They were very good for Lakeville North. They had an incredible, where I went to college, St. Cloud State, they had littered a division. 3 of the brothers went to my school. Otter, of course, went to BU. Just saying, the talent was loaded, and welcome to high school hockey. And maybe we'll touch on that a bit more because I'm going to be doing some bonus episodes, which is nice. The team I'm covering is in Alaska. Unfortunately, did not get to go. So I'm home, and I got nothing better to do. If I didn't mean it like that, but you understand. I'll be able to do some bonus episodes and be able to cover some of the games after on the weekend, which is exciting. I don't know if I'll do 2. I'll for sure do 1 at some point, maybe in between. We'll see what happens on a Sunday. But I would definitely going to throw some episodes out there on the weekend since I am available. And I'm excited about that because 2 big Central Division games as well with the Winnipeg Jets and the Minnesota Wild. The Jets have been off to a very, very good start. They won tonight. 7-4-2, 16 points so far in the season. Minnesota's been very up and down. It's been a roller coaster for them. They lost against New York and the Rangers tonight, and they thought they found it for a moment, and it's right back to square one. They're 5-6-2 now on the year. So Minnesota really needs to pick it up, and Winnipeg has been a nice showing. Which is kind of a surprise. I didn't know what we were going to get out of Winnipeg. Of course, they surprised a lot of people. They were in first place for a long time last year and then kind of plummeted towards the end. So we'll see what we get out of them. But 2 big divisional opponents. You'd just love to get 2 points. 2 of the 4 would be great. Of course, 3 of 4 would be fantastic. As the Stars are rolling so far. Big win against the Blue Jackets, 5-2. And a big weekend, and hopefully they pick up a few wins. So I'm excited for the weekend ahead. I want to thank you for a wonderful week here on Locked On Stars. Thank you so much for all your engagement. 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. And it's all because of you guys. I mean, obviously the community's been so great and welcoming. I've had so much fun. I really enjoy just engaging in conversations down in the comments sometimes about what you're thinking. And we're on this roller coaster too, where it's like, man, this team, what are they doing? And at parts, we are still that way. Look, the power play needs to be fixed. There's no doubt about that. 0 for 2 tonight. Let's get that rolling, and we'll have no issues. The starts, don't even get me started. So things to improve on, but it was just a great bounce back because just the offense dried up. They ran into some really great netminders too, and it would have been really frustrating to lose 3 straight games, but Otter wouldn't allow that to happen. All right. He rarely loses 2 in a row, let alone 3, and a great bounce back performance in him and 28 saves. That wraps up this week of Locked On Stars. I'm sure I'll be back for a few more episodes this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. But that will do it. A big win. Stars scored 4-5 unanswered. They beat the Blue Jackets 5-2 and head into the weekend on a high note. Follow me on the Twitter thing at JoeyTheJet19. Be sure to subscribe. Never miss an episode. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We will see you on the weekend. So long, Stars fans.